Hello, hello, and welcome to Girl We Gotta Talk. I'm your host, Elena Jakes, and you guys, I have a very special guest. You guys probably already know exactly who he is. We have Zachary Reality on today's show. Welcome.
Hey, oh my God. Yeah, I'm so excited to be back and just dish on all the tea. I don't know what you're gonna ask me. I don't really know what too much about what you're gonna go into, but I trust you. So let's do it.
Let's dive in. Okay, so first of all, for people that don't know, you are just, I feel like you're just the king on pop culture, reality TV. You know everything and like anything and everything about these shows. And you just give us all the little tidbits that we may not, be up to date with. So everybody should follow you, first of all, before we get started,
Thank
because I
you.
think your content is so helpful, especially for people that aren't like super in the know all the time, or they're at work and then they have like 5 seconds to get on Instagram or TikTok, and you're like, you guys, here's what's going on. How has it been, especially with Scandoval? Like, what has socials and like that looked like for you?
Oh my God. Well, thank you so much for like that compliment. Like, I love my content. I think it's so fun, and I feel like you described it perfectly. Like, I geek out over my own videos because I just love reality TV and like so I'm just like, I love that people are really resonating, with it still. Cause, I've been doing TikTok for 3 years. So it's just like so much fun to like, like still do the same videos that I've been doing and
Mm-hmm.
like have watched it grown. Scandoval, I haven't like dove too deeply into. Like I've done a couple podcasts talking about it. Like I don't overly do the Bravo shows, but I don't know. I just do a little bit of everything. I didn't like
Mm-hmm.
take on Scandoval. Like I didn't like the some Vanderpump fan pages have. Like it's for me, it's just like one of like the 10 shows I talk about?
Yes, yes. Yeah, and that's what I think is super cool also, because you mentioned you've been doing it for 3 years, and I had you on a while ago, and I feel like that was sort of like the beginning of like what it is now, and you're doing the same sort of videos, which I think is really nice because it's just like the familiarity. I'm like, okay, I'm going to see like he's going to be in the little corner and he's going to run through the stuff and
Mhm.
he's going to give me the stuff that I need to know. Um what has like it been like now looking back at like that point of life? How does it make you feel?
It's good. I mean, I think you can tell like I'm really happy today, which is
Yeah.
great because I could be moody. I have horrible days, but I've like the past week just has been like really great. So I've just been really happy to see like all my success and that I'm growing. But I feel like I'm just getting started too. Like there's so many things I'm striving for and there's so much more I want to accomplish. But it's definitely exciting to just kind of be like, everything's still like going up, because
Mm-hmm.
like that's kind of how it is in social media. Like we need to gain followers, subscribers, more opportunities every month, right? Like you want to just keep growing naturally. So I think it's just been awesome. And like looking back, I like proud of myself for sure.
Yeah, well, you should be. And I also feel like for people that don't know, like the behind the scenes of doing social media, like the way you're doing it is not easy. And sometimes I think about it too, and I watch your videos. I'm like, oh my gosh, was he just like laying in bed and then the story broke and then he has to like get up and get the lights and get the camera? Like he has to just like, you have to be on a lot. What is the behind the scenes of that like for people that like are watching it?
Oh my God, I'm gonna be so honest what the behind the scenes is. Like ring lights, green screen. I have so many microphones and headphones that I don't even know how to work. The equipment, like the technology has been like the hardest part for me, but I feel like it's just like I have a ring light that's just like easy to turn on. But like, yeah, you need the pictures. I've gotten better, I think, over time of simplifying things. Like I don't
Mm,
need 50 pictures. I just need like three. And then I can kind of like talk more. I think I've gotten more authentic in my recaps and reviews because I'm just like not caring as much or like I've come into my own. So I think I don't even remember the question, but it's definitely a lot that goes into it. Like I'm always have to be on, I feel like. And then if I'm like missing a story, then I'm like, oh, oops. But like you can't do it all.
So that was my next question. Like, how do you decide what you're gonna post? Because as a viewer, I feel like you're giving us the content that like we want, and it's like you're very straight to the point. You also give like your opinions on things, but you're definitely picking and choosing. Like, how does that process work? Do you just like look at a story like, "Ugh, it's just not time. Like, it's not the time for me. I'm not doing that video. What is that like for you?
Yeah. I mean, I try and talk about things that I genuinely care about and that I feel like everyone else does. Like when anything that's major in like the 10 shows that most of us care about, like definitely doing a story. Anything Bachelor related is like dropping the hands and knees. Like literally, like I could be cooking, like turning the stove off, like because I have to get that up right away because like that's like my prime, right? Like so when there's breaking stories I've pulled over before. I've been out to dinner
You've
with friends and like, yes, I've been out to dinner with friends and like they all understand. Like I've had friends like shine ring lights for me, like if it's necessary. I'll bring headphones whenever I leave the house just in case, because then I can make a story outside. It's definitely just like a lifestyle, and you have to be so committed to like making videos every day. And I just traveled recently to like Charleston and New York, and I kind of felt like I was off my game, and that was like kind of affecting me and my mojo, because I was like, I'm not posting as much because I'm living and I'm traveling,
Mm.
right? And now that I'm back in LA, I'm just like so happy to be like posting every day. It's just become part of my like scheduled routine.
It's like your everyday life. The headphones in the bag, like that is amazing. You're ready
Right.
at any moment.
Mm,
Okay, so
yeah.
for people that don't know, what are the main shows and like topics that you cover?
Well, I think it's just like whatever is like right now. So right now I'm like into Selling Sunset, Vanderpump Rules, Summer House, Real Housewives of New Jersey. I want to watch Ultimatum Queer Love. I haven't gotten to it yet. And
Mm.
I think Bachelor, I guess Bachelor, I'm not even excited, but Bachelor in Paradise is starting to film in a couple of weeks. So it'll probably be good for my content to start covering that. So I just made a YouTube video about that, and I'll probably start to integrate that more. But those are kind of like the main stuff. Kardashians, anything
Hmm.
majorly celeb news, I like to kind of comment on too, to make videos about. And then I love making videos about my life, but I feel like TikTok doesn't always resonate with that. So I'm trying to throw it in there, but I've been loving YouTube Shorts. So whoever wants to check me out on there, I've been like posting a lot about like what I'm doing, and it's just like really organic because I'm just like
Yeah.
talking off the cuff.
Yeah. I also like
Mhm.
that too, because I feel like it humanizes you a little bit. Like you're the guy that people know for celeb news, but also like you're just like you're a person. Like you have a life too. So
I
I think it's
know.
fun for people also to see like that side of the celeb topics and whatever the shows, but it's also like, okay, like he's doing this today, and it's like fun to see for people, I think.
Oh
Um,
my, yeah, and I love sharing my life too. Like I wish I could do it more. It's actually kind of the algorithm that doesn't let me.
uh,
And TikTok is just like you got to stick to what you do. So that's why I've been trying to find more of my personality on Instagram and YouTube. And like whenever I do a podcast, like I love to share my life. Like it's so fun for
mhm.
me.
God, TikTok is like, stay in your lane. This is not, we don't care about your life. That's so
Yeah.
annoying. We love
Yeah.
algorithms and we love how they change. Okay, so you made a good point. You talk about things that are right now. So, like the shows that are right now are like Vanderpump, Jersey just wrapped. We're in the reunion stage. Same with Vanderpump. I want to get
Hmm.
your takes on Scandoval and just like the overall, like right now, we just watched yesterday, we
Part
watched part
two.
2 of the reunion. So I definitely want to get your takes, but rewinding, like where were you and what was your reaction when you heard about Scandoval? I just need to know. Like, I would love to hear. Like, I was on the toilet and I rushed to my phone. Like, I need what? Where were you?
Oh my God, I love this question. Well, I do have a good story. I was recording a podcast with Rachel Lindsay, former Bachelorette. It
Love.
was like in person. So it was like one of my first studio podcasts, right? Because usually I do it on Zoom and stuff online. And I guess the news broke while we were recording the podcast. So as soon as we checked our phones after, because they were on Do Not Disturb,
Right.
Rachel read the news. So Rachel Lindsay broke Scandoval to me.
I
And
love
then
that.
I
Oh my
know,
gosh.
so good, right?
Amazing. Okay, so what were your thoughts? Like, what was she saying? Obviously, she's in the know. I love that already. What were you guys
Mhm.
talking about? Like, did you freak out?
Yeah. I was shocked. I was like, wait, what? Like it was just like I think everyone's adrenaline was like, wait, what? Like what's going on? Like TMZ. And then I started to check my phone, and like I'm really good friends with Ally, who's on the show. So she called me and she told me that like it was all true. And she started to tell me what she knew, but then I was like, Ally, I gotta hang up. I have to make a TikTok. This is so important. And then Rachel like ran out of there because she had to go somewhere else. So it was just like a really hectic day of just like calling everyone, gossiping about it, reading everything, and making videos, right?
Yeah, you're like, Allie, I love you. Please stop talking. I have to work. Like, I have to like
But
put
like
something
she's
out right
giving me the
now.
work. I know, but she's
Yeah.
like telling me the work, but I'm like, no, no, no. Cause I just like to report on what's like already out there. Like TMZ was
Yeah.
just like giving us all the updates. So
Okay, first of all, so crazy that Rachel Lindsay, love her, broke the news to you. Love that for you. Secondly, you
major.
bring up a good point. Like you had a little cameo this season. You are good friends with
Oh my
Allie,
God.
and she says in her confessional, like, my friend Zach introduced me. Like,
Mhm.
okay, walk me through all of that, because how cool, first of all, that like you've created essentially this couple that everybody loves. Like, first of all, I'm obsessed with her and I love like them
She's a
together. And I
queen.
also and we can get to this too, but I think she nailed it last night on the reunion. But wait,
Yeah.
okay, so she says you dragged her to an event. Like, tell me about that day and like how you got her there.
I made a TikTok about it when the episode dropped, but I was invited to the show. So I was talking to Tom's manager, Tom Sandoval's manager, I guess like a couple years ago. Like he sent me a couple packages, like their hats and their books, and like he wanted me to come to a show, I guess to just promote the show, right? Like that's as content creators, like I get invited places to promote things, like to make
Right.
videos, to make content. So he invited me to the show, and then I had 4 tickets for like, to go to the show for free and like backstage, whatever. So I brought Ally as one of my plus ones because Ally is one of my best friends in LA. We've been friends for like 3 years. And we went backstage and, James came up to us and they just started talking and like we all just started talking. And then the two of them just kind of hit it off. So I feel like I didn't necessarily like, I mean, I guess I like kind of introduced them. Yeah, I
Yeah,
deserve credit. I
you
deserve credit
do.
for
You
setting them
deserve,
up. Yes.
you
So
do.
that's how it happens. Yeah. And then the show put together whatever they put together. They kind of put the short, whatever version. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, okay, first of all, you do deserve credit. I'm giving you the credit. But that's so cool. I feel like she is such a great addition also to not
Hmm.
only him, but just the cast. I feel like she really has like her head on straight. And I feel like she really has a backbone and she knows what she wants and knows what she deserves. And I also feel like she's just a really nice person. Like I'm just saying this as like a viewer of the show. I don't obviously know her,
Yeah.
but I feel like she's just a good person. And I just was like, I remember when we, I guess, maybe saw promos of like, teasers of the trailer of the season. I was like, who the hell is this girl? And like, why does she deserve to have a seat at the table, And then the second she came on screen, I was like, that's why. It was like, okay, this makes sense.
She's a star. She's such a star. And it's so exciting to watch her. I cheer for her every week. Like, she truly, like, I knew she was going to kill it. All of our friends knew
Yeah.
she was going to kill it because Allie's just such a queen. And like, she definitely got a really good edit. So I can shade her a little bit because I'm her friend. Like, I feel like they definitely wanted to, like, they gave her such a clean edit. Like, obviously, no one's perfect, but like, Allie she's just so awesome too. So, like, that's why everyone likes her. And that's why, like, no one had anything bad to say about her. So I just think she was TV gold. I'm excited to see her evolve on the show next season as well.
Yeah, I agree. What was it like watching your friend on TV though? Were you just like like a little like yay? Like what was
Yeah,
that like
literally. No, literally. I have so many friends on reality TV, but a lot of those friends I've made after they went on
after the
reality
fact?
TV,
Mm-hmm.
after the fact, right? So a couple I have had who went on reality TV, Love Island, whatever, but Allie definitely is like one of my closest friends who got on like one of the biggest shows. So it's totally like super exciting. It's super cool. And like she's doing great. So it's just fun. It's definitely like fun to watch her every week.
I love that. And she was kind of a crucial part in the season of really like breaking or I guess bringing to light Scandoval to begin with because she saw them at the Abbey and
Mhm.
all that stuff. And she just kind of casually brought it up. And
Right.
that is so crazy that she's the one that kind of like saw it first, right?
Feel like everybody's like saw things.
Yeah. No, everyone kind of pieced it together on their own, but it's cool that she was also one of those people that was like, red
Yeah, I
flag. Why were they
know. That was
together?
like
So crazy.
I was so funny. That was like her moment, I guess, of the season because it was just like she had a different perspective than like everyone else because she just wasn't friends with everyone, right? Like she just got in, she was new to the group, she was new to the show. So like her perspective, I just think really resonated with viewers. It was such a moment and it was just
Yes.
amazing to see. It was amazing. And then
So
I loved
crazy.
the spin of her like astrology and like she has all the powers. I'm like, this is just like she's just so good. She did great.
I love it so much. Okay, so we can rewind real quick just about like the overall reunion, part one and part two. Last night was like a little lackluster. I felt like they brought Allie out, which was great. And I feel like which was really hard to watch Sheena like get really upset about the whole situation.
Yeah.
But then they like tease us right at the end because Raquel like just walks on set and it's like
I
next
knew they were
time.
gonna do that.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the reunion? Like, is this exactly how saw it going? With how Ariana's acting, with how Tom's acting. James is absolutely killing me. He is so funny. The booing
I know, he's
and all
so
of that,
funny.
it's such good TV. But what are your thoughts like on the overall reunion? Is it what you kind of anticipated?
Yeah, I did think part two was a little lackluster. Not, I don't know, it's all so good. I mean, part two was
Yeah.
exciting because Allie was there, and then I really connected with Sheena. I was like, really
Yeah.
feeling bad for her. And I felt like Sheena poured her heart out during this reunion. And I feel like this reunion was like kind of more about Ally and then Sheena, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then I think next part is going to be crazy, but that's what part 2 is, right? It's like part 1, part 2, part 3. So, I mean, next week is going to be absolutely insane. So, I think there'll be so much more to talk about per se. But as regards to last night, I thought it was great. I watched it on Peacock too because I like the uncensored
It's
version, and I
so
just
good
love
on
seeing
Peacock.
Ariana. I just love seeing her say the F word. Can I curse? Like,
Hmm.
it's just when
Yeah.
she says, "You fucking fuck," like, it's just like, yes, I love hearing her curse him out.
It's honestly gold. Right at the beginning
Mhm.
in the part 1 of the reunion, just the tears coming from Tom Sandoval and everyone immediately just saying stop and like yelling at him, and like he basically like swallowed the tears was the best thing I've ever seen. The acting of it all, like it was beautiful. I'm so glad that Ariana is getting the attention that she deserves right now and like the support that she deserves. I feel like that
True.
whole side of the room, especially in the reunion, is just like they have her back. Everybody does. And it's so good. The booing, like the poo-poo head, like all of it is so funny to me. Um, but
The
last
worm
night
with
we
the
saw
mustache.
you are a worm with a mustache.
That's the funniest thing.
It's so good. People need to make t-shirts if they haven't already. It's so good.
I think he did.
He probably did. I love that for him. Last night we saw though Raquel obviously like filed a restraining order against Sheena, and so Sheena kind of like had her moment to say everything she wanted to say before she had to leave, and then Raquel was brought on set. What was your thought on like everything that Sheena said? Like my heart was breaking because they were best friends, and you can go back through the seasons and Sheena is
Mhm.
defending Raquel over and over again like she would never do that. I would let Raquel sleep in a bed with my husband, all of these things that like words that she's just like eating now. What were your thoughts on like everything that Sheena had to say?
I just thought it was really authentic. I thought, like I said, I think Sheena just poured her heart out and she really put it all out there. And she took it like a champ. She had to do what she had to do with the court system, which was so ridiculous that it got dismissed like like as soon as the reunion. Now it's dismissed. It almost feels like Raquel didn't want to face Sheena at the reunion, or it was just like maybe the PR strategy that they were all talking about. It just
Ugh,
felt like it was just such an abuse of Sheena's time and energy, and like it really affected her. Like my heart broke for Sheena. Like Sheena
yeah.
is so sensitive, and I've always seen her on the show. Like she cries, she's so sensitive and she's so emotional. The way she loves her friends, it's something I've always resonated with, and like my favorite quality about Sheena. So it was definitely hard to watch, but it was also riveting television.
It was riveting television for sure. Um, okay, and then I wanted to ask like around that, like Tom was asked, what do you think happened regarding like Sheena punching Raquel? And he sat there for like 5 minutes in silence. Like, does he know more than he's saying? Like, what?
I think that he didn't want to rat Raquel out, right? Like I think he was trying to figure out a way to take Raquel's side, but he also knew that he was going to have to lie because Sheena's not lying. Like I believe
Right.
whatever Sheena says. Like if Sheena says she doesn't punch her, then I believe Sheena. Like how are you going to take Raquel or Tom's word, who literally had this affair over Sheena and Ariana? Like
Yeah, you're
hell
just
no.
not.
So
You're just not.
so I
Yeah.
so he was just trying to come up with an answer. And I guess he didn't. That's why you have to be authentic and honest, because then you don't have to think about your answers. Like you can just say what's on your mind. And I think you can tell that this reunion that he's just trying to find ways to lie through it.
Hmm. I also think it's interesting because, like, clearly, Sandoval and Raquel are coming into this reunion ready to be just like absolutely annihilated. They know what they did at the end of the day. They know that they are like gonna get screamed at. But it is interesting because they clearly have coached each other. They have their story that they're trying to stick to, and obviously Schwartz goes like off script. He says some things about like January, August, like he messes it up, but like I think intentionally, like he's like, you guys, like I can't stick to the story anymore. But it's
Yeah.
so blatantly obvious that they have these like these scripted lines, like Sandoval even like starting the reunion off in tears, like that was a whole performance. I'm just like very curious and nervous, like what Raquel is going to say in this part 3 and what she's going to try and remember. Cause like with the lies, like what is she going to try and spew out. I don't know. It's going to be very
Yeah,
interesting.
I know. And it sounds like we're not going to get what we want. It kind of seems like, from what I'm hearing and what everyone's saying, that, she doesn't cry, they don't break her. Like, because in the next part you see in the trailer, like Tom is going to break down. And that
Yes.
is, I mean, hopefully that's authentic, right? Hopefully he means what he's saying, right? It's hard to believe anything he says, but Raquel, it just seems like she was very unfazed and very detached and distant. And that's kind of what everyone was saying. So, she's been away for a while. I mean, everyone's invested to see what happens next. I think the Raquel,
Yeah.
I'm most excited to see the way Ariana and her conversation goes. I think a lot of people are
Yes.
anticipating that. So it's going to be part 3, and then it's going to be and then aren't they doing a part 4, like
Yeah,
behind the
we're getting
scenes or something?
something. Yeah, we're definitely getting something else after the part 3, but I don't know what that's going to entail. Like, I'm very curious. But you bring up a good point.
Yeah.
Like, I also feel like Raquel is emotionless. I think like she's not giving us reactions that you would think that she would give us. Like, if it were me in the situation, granted, I would never do something like this. I would be like hysterical, remorseful, like I would be so down in the dumps. I feel like watching the reunion part 1 and 2, she's very glazed over. She's very like
Mhm.
stoic. She's not reacting in the way that I thought she would, even watching, because she's in that trailer 100 yards away. She's watching the trailer and she's not giving reactions. Like she rolls her eyes and she's very just like blank. It's very interesting to like with all of this because you just would think that someone would have different feelings towards all of it and she just doesn't seem phased.
Yeah, she's very detached, she's very distanced, and I think she's somewhere right now, and maybe a facility, maybe like some type of camp. So, hopefully she's either getting her back in touch to reality. I really just don't know
Yeah.
what's going on with her. And I also think that we just don't know where she's at.
Yeah.
Hopefully next week on the reunion, we can kind of get some context into why she's so the way she is. But other than that, we'll have to wait until next season if she comes back. And, I don't know if she'll ever do like a podcast or something and kind of like take accountability one day, but it just seems like she needs to process everything. And like, she might need a few months to really understand what she did and why it was so wrong.
Yeah, to really grasp it. No, I completely agree. Okay, so with that, with the podcast kind of like world, people are having on Jackson Brittany. We even saw Kristen in the end of the season. She's been on a bunch of podcasts talking about it. Do you feel like Vanderpump Rules will bring back Jackson Brittany and bring back Kristen and bring back the OGs for this next season? Because I feel like there's a lot of talk about potentially doing that, maybe even a spinoff. Like, what would you want to see?
Yeah, I think they could bring Jackson Brittany back. It seems like they're in the media a lot right now. So that could potentially like be putting feelers out there. It seems like Kristen and Stassi have already moved on. I mean, I think it could be cool if they do like a younger show, right? And then maybe like the older, like of all new surfers. Like, I don't know if, I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
anyone wants to do Schwartz and Sandy's anymore after the scandal, but that could have been like a fun little thing to make like a new generation, and then the older people could like focus more on raising kids, because I just don't know where the drama goes from here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know I don't know what's gonna happen, so I'll just have to stay tuned like everyone else.
I would love like because I think there was talk like a while ago before everything got crazy, but like having all the Vanderpump Rules families and kids on one show, and then like what you were saying, bringing on like a completely new young cast. So we get like the party
Mhm.
Vanderpump, and then we get like the parents Vanderpump. Oh, I wanted to ask you, like, what are your thoughts on something about her? Have you been like seeing, because you're in LA, like, have you been seeing anything about
Yeah.
that, walking by any of that?
Yeah, I walked by it or drove by it recently because it's near a lot of the gay bars. So I think a lot of people, it's in a great area. It's in a great
Yeah.
location. I think it's going to be really popular. And I think they're opening up soon. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they waited to open until the cameras came back up, because I think they're going to start filming the new season. So they probably want to capture that and follow it. And I mean, I'm excited to try the sandwiches. I love sandwiches. I have a feeling they're going to be really good. So
I'm
I'll
so
report back.
happy. Okay, I'm first of all so jealous I'm not there because I would love to try. Maybe I just need to like fly out for a sandwich.
Just
But
for a
I'm so happy
sandwich.
for them. I feel like this is so great. And also I feel like they really did it right, unlike the Toms. So I'm just like happy for the success. I know they made a ton on merch already with just like the scandal in general. So I'm just happy for Ariana. She has this. They'll be good. The ladies
Yeah,
without their toms, they'll be great.
they're gonna
Um,
thrive.
they really will. I wanted to ask you also, so you mentioned Jersey earlier. We have had quite the season with the Jersey Housewives. Um, just a lot of back and forth. It seems like the same old story with Melissa and Teresa and the family drama. But we also, I think there was added drama just around Teresa's wedding. So first question,
Mhm.
did you watch the Teresa wedding special on UK? What were your thoughts on the wedding, just seeing it versus like seeing it on social media?
I feel like because I saw all of it on social media, I was just like watching it more as like another episode, but I was still like really excited to watch it and like see all the ins and outs. I love Teresa. Jersey's my favorite franchise, and then Teresa's my favorite housewife. So it was honestly, it was a great moment to watch. I was so excited for her.
What did you think about the hair? Everyone's always talking about the hair.
I love it. It's good. It fits her. She wanted it. I was here for it.
Very Jersey of her. I thought the wedding was
Mhm.
like gorgeous. I also just love her daughters. I feel like just seeing them
Me
on
too. Her
TV,
daughters.
had daughters. I thought that was so fun. And also just having like four of them in one confessional was so cool. I was like, it gave me
Mhm.
very like Teresa Louis spin-off TV show. I was like, I feel like they just need to have cameras on just this household alone. And that's it.
They should. And then they could bring in like they can have like a couple friend ofs, but like
Yeah.
I don't know why she hasn't gotten a show yet. Like if you're gonna give Kim Zolciak and all those kids a show for 8 freaking seasons, like Teresa should maybe do a spin-off show and then maybe they can do Jersey Housewives. They could take a pause from Jersey Housewives or do it without her.
Yes.
But like clearly she just like hates Melissa so much. And I think that drama, I actually think it's fresh. I don't think they've ever they haven't hated each other like this since like season before she went to jail. So it does feel fresh to me.
It's definitely a different vibe. I think it's the same stories, like, they're mad about the same kind of thing, but I feel like this time around feels very different, especially as a viewer watching their body language on the reunion this time. I'm like, Melissa's over it, Teresa's over it. They literally don't want to be in the same room anymore. Like something is different, something has changed. What is your viewpoint on just like that drama in general? Like, do you feel like Teresa's always in the right? Do you feel like there's two sides to every story? Like, what are your thoughts on like the whole family dynamic?
So I kind of agree with Melissa a lot more sometimes, even though I'm Team Teresa. Like I feel like Melissa's more logical. My take on the Antonia thing was that Teresa should not have brought her up like that. Like that was so unfair. And it's kind of true. Like Melissa's kids really do stay out of it. But then I also kind of felt like Teresa's kids are just more involved in the show and the show has been more focused around it. Like they're filming more at Teresa's house than they probably ever have at Melissa's.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of why. But I do think that there's just a show going on outside the show. And it's like if the kids all disdain Melissa and Joe so much, like I wonder why. What do they it just seems like they're always lying about each other. Like Teresa,
Mm-hmm.
Joe, Melissa. Like it's just so hard to ever tell the truth. But I do sometimes find Melissa being the most mature.
That's where I struggle because I also feel that way. I feel like Melissa is very good at, I also feel like Melissa, number one, doesn't really lie that much from what I can tell. I feel like she's very mature. She's very calm with her delivery. Whereas, like, obviously, we know like Teresa's a hothead and she's like Jersey and like
Mhm.
loud. And so sometimes her delivery isn't as great or polished as Melissa's can be, which also may be why I like side with Melissa because I'm like, well, she's clearly telling the truth because she's not yelling. Um, but I don't know. I feel like you're right. I feel like there's something behind the scenes with the kids that we don't know. Because
Mhm.
I think it's one thing with like your mom telling you certain things about your aunt that like piss you off. But I feel like
Mhm.
you can still have your own opinions, which is why I kind of feel like there's something more because I feel like it's so much deeper and darker. And I don't know what that
Mhm.
is. But I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of talk, I think coming from Teresa too, that like Melissa's not going to be asked back. This story has kind of like, outrun its course. I think people are tired of hearing about it. But I don't know. Melissa brought up a great point, which was I had a baby on this show. I went to jail on this show. I
Mm.
show every side of myself on the show. What have you shown? And I think back to like all of Jersey, because Jersey was like the first ever Housewife franchise that I watched. So I am like ride or die Jersey. Love them so much. But I was like, kind of a good point. Like Melissa doesn't show a lot. She's very particular about what she shows and what she doesn't. We never really see her kids. Um, she has Envy, but we're never really at Envy. Like it's a very interesting situation. So I'm just curious what could happen. I would love, honestly, a Teresa spinoff. I feel like they just
Mhm.
have so much more going on. It's so interesting though.
Well, maybe that's what it is. Maybe Teresa's life is just more interesting and chaotic, and that's why they
Yeah,
film her more. Maybe the producers don't want to see more on Melissa, right? You never know.
right. Great point. What did you think about her house? Everyone was giving her shit for Melissa's new house and how it was built, and like all these contractors were like in the comments like this is so poorly done. Like what were your thoughts?
I'm definitely a little confused about why they're always moving and like what their living situation has been the last like 5 years. Like, were they renting a house? I have no idea what their money situation is. It's always confused me. So I'll just say that I think the Shore House is iconic. That it's
The Shore House
beautiful.
is
It's like on
great.
it's so pretty. Yeah, I love the Shore
Oh,
House.
I would love to be invited, Melissa. Um,
I know,
okay.
same.
So we're just like kind of running through a bunch of things real quick, but I really wanted to ask you about Kim and Croy. You kind of brought it up earlier on them getting a divorce. They're separated. There's a lot of drama going on around that. Um, Initially, what were your
Mhm.
thoughts when you heard that they were splitting?
I was just kind of shocked. I mean, I knew that they had money issues because that's been the thing in the media for a few years. But I was shocked that they were splitting, honestly, because whenever I watched them on the show, like they were just so in love, like
Yeah.
they were like that couple that you like actually like seemed like they were gonna last forever. So it's
Yeah.
kind of it was sad, but I also feel like they also fell off the grid in a lot of ways too. Like Kim has become so irrelevant until this. So I would just was shocked.
I feel the same way. I think that they are very like they were always very like lovey-dovey couple on TV, and they were
Hmm.
so in love with each other, and they had all these kids
Right?
together and this big like
Yeah.
glorious house. I was shocked. Um but he has like recently Croy has recently like released like gambling receipts and like all of these things that like she spent money on, and it seems very like icky. I don't know what's going on, but shocking to say the least. Shocking.
Yeah, so I don't know if we'll ever hear more about it. Like, they just don't seem like they like talk a lot. They don't do a
Yeah.
lot of interviews. They're not on the show, so I don't know how much info we'll get about it as time goes on. But it's really sad because I loved the family unit.
It is sad, and I feel like the kids are really young. Like a lot of the kids they had together
Mhm.
are really young, and I feel like breaks my heart. Okay, so what is your favorite of all time reality show to cover? But then what is also your favorite reality show to watch? And are they different?
Yeah, my favorite to cover is probably The Bachelor. I just feel like that's where I thrive. Maybe not as much anymore, but I think it's just hard to pick a favorite show because it's like whatever's on at the time. Like Love is
Yes.
Blind has been like really well for like has done really well for me. Like I just loved talking about Selling Sunset, all the shows we're talking about. So it's really hard to pick like one. I will say like the first show I fell in love with was Survivor. I grew up watching that. That was like my
Yeah.
first love. So that and then I think that I just loved Selling Sunset this past season.
Okay, let's break down Selling Sunset. I want to get your
A little,
takes on,
yeah.
okay, number one, Christina's no longer here. Were you
Hmm.
upset or were you like indifferent about that?
I was upset because I love watching Christine, but I think that it just made sense. She was not getting along with anyone. It just felt like it was such a weight on the show, and it was like kind of holding the show down too, because it just became too toxic. So I think
Hmm.
it's best for her, but I do want to see Christine on another show in the future. Hopefully, one that is reality.
Yes, I feel like she's made for the screen. Like she is such good TV. She's so iconic. Um, and I think she was on I don't remember what podcast it was, but she was
The
on.
Masked Singer.
Was she? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think she was on this past season. Yeah.
Okay, iconic. But she's talked a lot about like how she was sort of like steered in the direction to be the villain, and like she can be that for people if they want her to be, but like she had so much more to give, I feel like. So I understood with like how things were going on the show that maybe it was time for her to go, but I also was like, oh, I just like wanted more from her. But okay, so what are your thoughts on this season so far?
I'm like excited for the next one. I really liked it. Like it was a good binge. I love watching shows in bed with like Netflix when it's like you can watch multiple at a time if you want versus like
Yes,
this Vanderpump thing is that it's taken forever, like get to the point.
I know.
So I thought this season was really good, and I think that it definitely has more potential to grow. I feel like this was like the part one of like what's next, right? So I don't know.
Hmm.
My favorites were Brie. I thought she brought a lot of fun energy. Chelsea's outfits, I give it to her. I think she had the best wardrobe all season. I think Mary does a really good job of holding on the fort. And then Chriselle felt a little distant this season.
Yes. Okay, first of all, agree with all those takes. Chriselle, yeah, I'm curious what's going on there. Obviously, she's with G Flip, and I think like that is sort of like clouding her. And she just like wants to be like in love land, and I like respect that at the end of the day. But yeah, I agree. I feel like she was very distant this season, and also I think in seasons past it's been very focused on Chriselle, so it felt
Mhm.
very different. Um,
Yeah.
I also just love the show solely for the outfits. Like the way
Mhm.
that they just come in every day with these outfits, I'm like gorgeous, obsessed.
Their outfits are so good. It's
It's
like
so
the
good.
best wardrobe on of any reality show. Like better than what the Kardashians wear, better than what all the housewives wear. And that's why I say when Chelsea, I think she brought the best outfits. I don't say that lightly because they all slayed.
It's so hard to choose, but like they are killing it. They're like, and I sometimes felt like Beverly Hills Housewives always like pulled out like all the stops for like a little girls brunch. I'm like, why are we wearing that? But like love it. I feel like I don't know, Selling Sunset, something about them. They really, really step it up.
Uh-huh. I like seeing
Um,
the girls trip too to Palm Springs. I was like, why don't they do more of this?
Oh my God, I live for the girls' trips also. Okay, so with the Kardashians, I haven't started this new season because they just released the new season, right? Or they're starting the
Well,
episode?
they one episode came out last week, and then there's
Okay.
probably a new one that came out already, but so I'll probably get to that this weekend
Yeah,
or maybe
like
later.
I feel like overall we need to stop doing the episodic shows. Like can we just binge it? Like like we can just talk about it all like together. It doesn't need to be week to week
I
anymore.
think the Kardashians would probably do better if they put it
Yeah.
all on at once. I think more it would actually would get more buzz and more hype because they draw out everything they do. She waited a year to tell us her baby's name for publicity, right?
Hmm.
Like, why are they going to draw out the season? Like, it's going to lose
I
viewers.
I felt like for a while before social media became what it was, that was okay to do. Like, because people are on the edge of their seats, they're ready for the next week. We are just not there anymore. That's just not what this like life is anymore. We are so 24/7. Like your job is to tell us news all of the time. Like that's what you're doing. So I think with the Kardashians like drawing things out and like the baby name, like little things like that. Like I think people are really losing interest in the Kardashians. And I was talking to my friend last night. I said, I really do feel like the Kardashians are in like sort of a flop era because nobody's really talking about them. They're not really like relevant. No one really cares anymore. And it's very interesting to watch. Like, what are your takes on all of that?
I kind of love it because they have had success for 20 years and like everyone's been obsessed with them for so long that like it's truly they made the most out of their 15 minutes and they'll still be famous the rest of their lives and maybe they'll have like a new era in a few years, but right now they are in their flop era and I'm totally fine with it.
I feel like maybe it's right. Yeah.
It
Um,
happens. They're
it
still killing it
happens.
regardless. Like
Kris Jenner
enjoy the
will
private life.
Yeah, exactly. And Kris Jenner will find something else to talk about in a couple years. I feel like she'll spin something up for us. What were your thoughts on Chloe's baby name?
Tatum.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it was, I think the name is cute, but I think it was, I don't know why I was like let down for some reason. I was just like, wait, that's what it is. Like we waited a year for it to be Tatum. I kind of wanted it to be Robert Jr.
Ooh, yeah. Damn.
for
Missed
the family.
opportunity. I
Hmm.
feel like that's how I reacted, but because it was so drawn out, I was like, this name is going to like be talked about. Like, this must be a really good fucking name if we're waiting a year. So I think like Tatum is cute, but I was like, okay, like you could have just told us that. Like, it's not like
No,
anything
she said she was
crazy.
waiting. She said on the Kelly
I
Clarkson show that
know.
she was waiting for the premiere of the show. So maybe it wasn't all her idea. Maybe it
Yeah.
was like the producers. They're like, we have to get people to tune in. What's gonna get me to tune in is the feud between Courtney and Kim when they fight over the Dolce Gabbana stuff. I'm already planning on being Team Kim, but I loved Courtney and Travis's wedding special because I think it's like, because it was in Italy and it's a wedding, like I thought it was
Mhm.
a beautiful special, so I loved watching that. So now I'm like interested to see what happens with like the lead up to that because I liked the wedding, so I think it was good that they aired that first.
Oh, that is a good point. That is a good point.
Yeah.
I love Travis and Courtney together. I think that this is like so perfect. I'm loving this for her. Um, it's so crazy. Like, okay, and with the Sophia Richie of it all, like it's just so interesting, like how things have evolved. Like Courtney and Scott, Scott and Sophia, and now Courtney's having her moment. Like, just love it all. I love it all.
Rich
Okay,
people.
fucking rich people. I wish. Okay, so overall, like what has been like the biggest, I guess, and most fun story to report on so far this year? We're like halfway through the year. Like what has been like your,
Mhm.
I guess, favorite moment so far?
I like that question. I think that I'm really excited about Sammy returning to the Jersey Shore. It's been like 10 years, right, since she's been on the show. So I've had a lot of fun making videos about that. I just made one before this podcast.
Oh, I love. Have you
Yeah.
met anybody from the Jersey Shore?
I talk to Angelina sometimes through DM, but I've never met anyone from the show that I can think of. I don't think so, but I want to. I want to have them on my podcast, but I feel like they're so unreachable right now.
They're just so cool and I love them. And I feel like they just really started all of this for us. Like the reality TV like sphere that we're all in, like they did it. They did that.
Yeah,
It's so
so
fun to
good.
like go back and watch the old episodes too. It's hilarious. Such good
My
TV.
favorite episode ever is actually season 4 in Italy when Gianni comes to visit and Snooki and Gianni have that epic fight. That's like one of
So
my
good.
favorite episodes.
So good.
Mhm.
Okay, so well, what are you looking forward to other than Sammy? Love her so much. For the rest of the year, like anything that you're wishing to happen in the reality TV world, celebrity world, for you personally, goals, any of that?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually really excited about tonight. I'm going to the Stars on Mars carpet. I'm going to be working it, interviewing. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a new Fox show that Tom is on, Tom Schwartz. Have you heard of it?
Yes, yes.
So I'm excited for everyone to check that show out, and I'm excited to watch it too. And I think that I am looking forward to just like more opportunities to like host carpets and stuff, especially since I've been working with Fox for like 7, 8 months. So I'm really focusing on like growing that to working other different campaigns and shows and, just growing on social media and my podcast, my YouTube channel, TikTok, Instagram partnerships. Like events, carpets, like just like the whole
Yeah.
jizz, the whole jazz. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And it's summer, so I'm looking forward to traveling. I don't know where I'm going yet, but I might go to Idaho just because it's like
Ooh.
random and it's like on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what's going on right now.
I love that. Are you going to give all your takes on that show? I'm like so curious what that's about because there's so many other like celebrities on there, right?
Yeah, so I will definitely give some takes. I think it depends on how interested I get throughout the season.
Yeah.
I watched the first episode and I really liked it. So we'll see. I'll definitely like keep everyone up to date
Okay.
regardless.
Perfect. Of course, like
Yeah.
as always. Okay, I'm
Hmm.
first of all just so excited for you because the last time that we spoke was like a year and a half ago, I feel like a while ago. And I think we were coming like right out of COVID and you had just been talking about like doing the red carpets and all the interviewing and I'm just so happy for you and all of your success. I feel like you really do deserve it and you're just like hustling.
Thanks.
Like thank you for all the videos. We love it. Keep them
Oh,
coming.
yay.
And if you guys aren't already following him, I will link everything in the show notes and everything he just mentioned. So you guys can obviously give him a quick follow and stay up to date because it's necessary.
Thank you so much for having me on. This has been so much fun. And thank you to everyone who listened and watched. I mean, this has been like such a good catch up. I kind of like doing a podcast that I did like a year and a half ago, just to like kind of
Yeah.
go through everything. Like it's fun how you presented it and everything. So I really appreciate you.
Oh my gosh, of course. Well, thank you again for coming on. This was so great to catch up and get all of your great takes. And maybe we'll just have to do another one next year.
Yeah, maybe by the end of the year, hit me up. Maybe
Okay.
we won't wait as long.
Perfect. Perfect. Sounds
Yeah.
great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. See you guys later.